I don't know, James, if you want to start on how you kind of started this whole
Yeah,
thing.
I'll keep it brief. Yeah,
Just so you know, me
yeah,
and James are related.
yeah.
James
I'm the
is,
good-looking one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And we actually met at a family do,
yeah.
and kind of hit it off with similar interests and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, James, do you want to just give us your background a little bit?
Oh, just to get it started. Yeah, I mean, I was in the army for 22 years, Matt.
Yep.
Like I say, I'm cutting it very short, but during my journey in the army, well, maybe about halfway through my career, I started realizing how life really works just through some circumstances of mine. It opened my eyes to, it turned my thinking around, and I started questioning things because of what happened to my ex-girlfriend. And I started thinking, hold on a minute, that's not what I believe. But the more research I did, the more I realized that the truth is actually the opposite, you know? And that's when I started just questioning everything. It started from then, really. And then when I was in the army, I just had a passion for learning and to better myself, because I knew my pension wouldn't look after me. I knew it wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
And there's so many guys ended up falling over and ended up on the streets when they left the army. And I didn't like the fact that I was tied into this one thing, that I was doing a job at one point for many years I hated. At one point in my career, I really didn't enjoy it at all. But I'm just tied into the pension. Everyone just thought pension, pension, pension. So I had no freedom. I couldn't just leave.
Yeah.
And then the pension's very little, anyway. But I just worked out that I had to do something for myself.
Yeah.
So it started with investing in myself, but I had to really get kicked off the hard way, really, because I started, and then 2008 kicked in. I nearly went under, with the recession. I nearly went under, buried my head in the sand for a couple of years, but eventually I got my head out of the sand, started investing in myself and my own education financially. I was going away when I was in the army. Any point I could, I was going away, paying people lots of money to teach me. I actually paid 2 millionaires to teach me about money and finance and how it really works. Up in Peterborough.
Okay.
And I was up there all the time. The amount of guys in the mess, in the sergeant's mess, were laughing at me and going, "What are you doing?" But I just thought, I want freedom. I want independence. I want to be able to leave the army or do what I want to do. I don't want to be tied in just to a pension. That might not even be there.
Yeah.
When I leave. It changed 3 times when I was in the army. It changed twice, and it was changing as I was leaving. And it's not betterment to us, the soldiers. It's better, it's less money out of our pockets, every single time it changes. So you've got no control. So long story short, I just started investing in myself. I started buying properties, investing my money, and started learning how it all works. Paid these guys lots of money, invested that money, and I got myself to a stage basically that when I left the army, I didn't have to work. I didn't have to panic and go looking for a job. I wasn't a millionaire or anything silly. I wasn't loaded.
Yeah.
But was classed as financially independent, depending on how you look at it.
Sure.
But before I left the army, though, I had a passion for helping the soldiers do the same thing. This is where it all started. So I started teaching the guys how money works, and I used to pay off people's debts for them. A bit silly at the time, really. It was a bit risky on my part, but I managed to get the money back. And a little bit. I used to make a little bit out of it. But I started paying the guys' debts off for them. But it was a bit of a shock, really, Matt, because I realised that it doesn't work. Yes, you've paid the debt off, but the following week or the following month, they're back in debt again.
Back in debt.
They're back in debt again. It doesn't work. So that's when we realised that we've got to educate people. You've got to give them the tools themselves, empower them to think for themselves and do something for themselves, and get themselves out of the, get themselves out of the mess that they're in, if they're in a mess or whatever, be in a better place financially. So that's where it all began. And we just started doing that and doing talks, helping people with finance. And we even did, that's when I met Adam. It was after that time, wasn't it, Adam? I met Adam. And we initially were going around helping people with their finances and putting together financial plans for them, helping them get rid of their debts quicker.
Sorry, James, just to jump in. Go on. Yeah, I was just going to say, even just, again, it's stuff you're not taught at school. You don't get given these tools, but even just to look at, not like budgeting, although budgeting's good and it's useful, but looking at all of your debts and working out to the month and the year, your debt freedom date, when you will have paid everything off. And we used to sit with families and say, okay, let's plug all the numbers in and work it all out. This is the month and the year that you will be debt free. And it was always a very sobering time, because they would be like, gosh, that sounds so far into the future. It sounds so, far away. And then we'd say, well, look, just being smart, we can actually tweak that and bring that forward 5 years. But it's not by doing the usual things that you're told, but by just being smart and things that you're not told. So just as a little throwaway here, just something like, rather than paying your mortgage every month, like monthly payments, paying it every 2 weeks. And you think, well, let's say, for example, just for the ease of maths, £400 a month. Instead of doing that, you're going to do £200 every 2 weeks. And you say, well, what difference would that make? It's still the same amount of money. But when you realize that interest on a mortgage is calculated daily, so whatever you're not paying off on day one snowballs to day 2, and it snowballs to day 3 and 4 and 5. So the quicker you can pay that off, you stop it. You stop it snowballing. Whoever tells you that?
No one's ever told me that.
Banks are never going to tell you that. Mortgage companies, it's not in their interest, because money in your pocket is money out of their pocket.
We've helped thousands of people do this, Matt. We know it works.
Yeah,
thousands now.
But it's
do that. Yeah.
It's little tweaks that don't necessarily cost you more money, but it's about being smart with what you've got.
So let me get this right.
Yeah.
If instead of paying on the first of every month, instead of paying like your big chunk of mortgage, you pay half of it on the first and half of it on, say, the 15th.
Yeah.
That in the long run is going to save you interest on your mortgage.
Two reasons, Matt. 2 reasons, because you bring your balance down quicker. And if you're paying 3% on £500,000, you're not paying 3% on £500,000 a week later, are you? Or, sorry, a fortnight later, because you're bringing the balance down. You're not waiting for the whole month of interest to build up, are you? You're bringing your balance down fortnightly or weekly.
Yes.
You can do it weekly. Yeah. Many of our guys have done it weekly, not even fortnightly. So you're bringing the balance down quicker. So it's not 3% on that big number anymore. That big number's come down a week later. And a week later, it's come down again.
Wow, I never realised that.
And also, Matt, because you do end up paying a tiny bit extra because you're paying it weekly. There's 52 weeks in the year, isn't there?
Yeah.
So when you're paying it monthly, you pay the equivalent of 48 weeks in the year.
Sure.
So just by doing that, you do automatically end up paying a little bit extra. You pay like an extra 4 weeks spread out over the whole year by doing it that way. But then 2 things together, and we've seen people knock more than 5 years, I don't know, 10 years, even more than that.
Yeah, and thousands of
tens of thousands,
tens of thousands of pounds of interest in your pocket. Plus,
hang on, let me get a pen.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. So it's things like this that we've found on our journey, and
people should know about. It's not
heard
fair.
it and then gone. This is why are we not taught this? And secondly, there's no way we can keep this to ourselves.
If you want to.
Wow.
But again, whoever
That's
thinks it's an option to pay your mortgage any different. The other thing, Matt, which this starts to compound, we do a whole thing on compound interest because it's people rarely understand.
We still teach this stuff, Adam, don't we, in our videos? We still go through this. It's just about gold and silver. So
you think, let's say you pay your mortgage off 5 years earlier and you save 10 grand in interest, just for round numbers, Yeah. So that's £10,000 that's money in your pocket. And as James always says, money saved is money made. Yeah, that's yours.
And it's tax-free.
And it's tax-free. Don't forget that, it's tax-free. Not only that, but this is how it compounds. You've now got 5 years worth of mortgage payments that you don't have to pay. So not only do you save the 10,000, but you save at the other end X amount of years worth of mortgage payment. That imagine if you compounded that by investing, let's say, in gold, just to pick an option. It's the whole exercise hasn't taken any more money out of your pocket, but it puts you in a dramatically different place to where you would have been. for using the same money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're actually paid into your future, Matt, sooner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Later, because at the minute,
crazy.
People aren't able to. It's later and later and later in life they're able to put money into their futures for their retirements. So what we're helping people to do is bring that time down so they can start. They can be debt free and start putting money towards their future sooner.
Yeah, sooner.
Wow.
So many people are paying into the past.
Yeah,
up into the 50s and 60s still, and we've got nothing for the future. So within that plan, Matt, we used to have a retirement page, didn't we, Adam? And we used to ask people, what would you like to live off when you retire at whatever age you want to retire at 65? What comfortably do you want to live off? And we used to type the numbers in, and it used to work out, including inflation, what you would need to start saving today to be able to live a comfortable life when you retire.
To make that happen.
And I don't think I ever sat with anybody that would ever have enough money to retire comfortably, ever. And we did many, many plans, didn't we, for people?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's where it all began, Matt. But then we just felt we were within the regulated arena, and there's only certain things you can do for people, and
it's limiting, isn't it?
Calling all US citizens. Check out the link in the description to get your free Goalbusters ebook.